Hello and welcome back to Blood and Ashes. This is episode 109, where we will cover Knife of Dreams chapters 6 through 9. I'm your host Mo, and I'm joined once again by my heartful friends Willie.
I'm not that heartful.
Okay, and Jody.
Explain Khatful to people who don't understand what words you're using and language you're speaking. Hey, everybody.
Let me explain it to them in a way that requires them to have a camera or see our video feed. It's when you've had it up to here. He gestures with his hand up to his neck. It's when you've all your patience has been eroded. And in these chapters, see if you can guess which event, parentheses, events, I would be referencing.
I know exactly which one you're referencing. It is a fantastic one.
Nice, no idea.
It's one we've sort of mentioned a couple times leading up to this book and this party arrangement before. Obviously, when
it's a spanking, a repetitive.
It is a spanking.
A paddling.
That's...
No, it's not a spanking. Robert Jordan's spanking
spanking.
is different. This is a paddling.
This is a paddling. It does seem quite intense and very quick.
This is a beating, I think.
Yeah.
It's a paddling.
This is a cool social services moment.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, Blerick and Fenn would agree. But there's also obviously the part where the Aes Sedai start badgering Tuon, and then she pulls the move where she and Selusha slip a dime on them in the wagon, and then just like lays down the law.
Very good moment there.
She was also hutful of their continuous pressuring to do something as a high lady of the Seanchan. So yeah.
On the trend of heartful, you know what I am not heartful of?
What is that?
Winning in rugby.
No.
There it is. Well, our Kiwi friends also did well.
Oh,
They
yes.
did.
Yes. They also 2-0 up.
It was Scotland.
But this is not a rugby podcast where we will constantly reference rugby games. Ooh, podcast idea. Quickly write that down.
So many
I
rugby
could
podcasts.
still call it, Blood and Ashes would be a better podcast name for a cricket podcast, not a rugby one.
Yes.
Blood and
that
the
would.
Ashes.
And that's starting soon.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Very excited for that.
Now, as people can...
So we don't talk rugby, we talk cricket.
I was going to say, as people can tell from our stilted start and our continuous veering from the actual subject matter at hand, it has been a while since we've recorded a podcast. For those who are following along with the podcast in real time, it obviously has been, I think, what did we say? 6 weeks, I think, since we recorded our last episode, during which time, this time I was the one sort of traveling around a bit. I went back to South Africa, attended my brother's wedding, reunited with some family I hadn't seen in about 9-10 years, some of them. So that was really great. I went to a music festival in Queensland after we got back. That was really great. Did you guys get up to anything fun and exciting?
Nope.
Same old, same old.
Silence.
Total silence.
I watched some good TV show. I could use my Sunday nights off to watch evil monster alien shows. It was great.
Ah, yes.
Oh, you watched Alien Earth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get on that real soon.
Yeah.
All of that was table setting for me to basically segue into the fact that with all the traveling I'd been doing, I have now finished Knife of Dreams completely. A lot of flying. It's a 14-hour flight from Sydney to Johannesburg. So a lot of time in the air, a lot of time in a metal tube. So finished Knife of Dreams. I've said this to you guys off air before, but I'll say it now in front of all of our listeners. I have been absolutely blown away by just how rad this book gets. Which, I don't know, we've yet to touch base on this, but might be somewhat counterintuitive when you look at the chapters we're dealing with today. Not super exciting stuff. I mean, kind of like a fun read, but nothing major. But man, Joe, I think Villy's read ahead a little bit, but I think you're still sort of trucking along with the chapters we're doing.
No, I'm right at the end. I've just been...
Yeah, and I mean...
No, I'm way behind.
The last half of this book is just like chapter after chapter of insane, rad stuff.
I mean, you could lose your left hand. It's so good.
Oh, that happens. Oh, just terrible spoilers, really.
I know, what a shame.
It is literally my computer background. Is that scene? There's a very cool image online if you want to go get it for your computer.
Everybody, just take a minute, go do that now, and then come back to the podcast. Okay, welcome back. The fact that I had forgotten so much cool stuff from this book, and not even just that it happens in this book, but that it happens at all, is just another stark reminder of how bad my own memory is. I won't lump you guys in with me, but we have often, bemoaned our bad memories. But it is also at the same time awesome when you are surprised, like I have been in this book. And I am so amped to actually do the episodes that are going to cover these chapters that are coming up. There's a little bit of courting and the sort of material we're dealing with in this episode. I don't personally find super exciting, although it does recontextualize Tuon for me in a big way, which we can discuss later. But man, just surprised by how very bad my memory has been.
I'll have to wait and see. I assume it's as bad or worse than yours.
I can't comment. I am a flawless memory.
Well, be prepared for an awesome surprise. But on the topic of bad memories, let's examine just how bad our memories are in everybody's favorite section called Callbacks. A big topic of conversation in our last episode, which I bet none of us actually really remember clearly, but I will dredge up our memories here, is that the wind that started on Dragon Mount, remember, it sort of blew down the hill and it knocked over wagons and stuff in the Aes Sedai camp, which was right next to it. And then in a later chapter, we spoke about those ripples that happened that Fail and the Shido Wise Ones experienced, and even Perrin experienced as well, in and outside of Malden. And it seems like those are much more aligned to a phenomenon called a bale scream, which, as you can infer from the name, is related to the use of balefire. We had a listener write in about it, which I will get into in the listener contributions, but it just further strengthens my suspicion that that specific ripple didn't have anything to do with that wind.
I'm challenging that on basis of too little evidence and the
I would
opinion
like you
of
to
one.
present your evidence. Present your case.
I will in listener contributions. The wind that blew down from the mountain was referred to as a zephyr, which I think we said is a soft, gentle breeze, named for Zephyrus, the Greek god or personification of the west wind. And then Joe said, isn't there a motorbike or something called a zephyr? And yes, Kawasaki Joe made a motorbike called a zephyr.
Yeah, I know, that's why I said it.
With such conviction.
Of course.
Then we asked ourselves, when does the reader figure out that Moradin is Ishamael reincarnated? There was a section in a previous episode, I think, where Ishamael, the Forsaken, when they meet from the point of view of Halima and Moradin enters, they talk about he used to be called Ishamael. So they're sort of saying it outright, and we were just wondering when it really is made clear to the user. Look at me, an IT professional. When it is made clear to the reader. I couldn't find an exact reveal, but Robert Jordan apparently has said himself that from reading Winter's Heart, it should be pretty obvious to anyone that Moradin is Ishamael. So that's 2 books ago, right? We're in book 11 already. Someone said the Fades and Trollocs were made by the Forsaken, but they were made specifically by Agenor. I don't know why I felt the need to call that out specifically, but I just followed my callbacks that I wrote down 6-7 weeks ago blindly when I did them this time. So I guess that's something we were wondering about. But something we were definitely wondering about is who sent the Trollocs to attack the Stone of Tyr in Shadow Rising, and who sent the Trollocs that opposed them. Now, do you remember, like in that meeting with Moradin, he was saying Samael seems to have resurfaced, and he sent thousands of Trollocs, or someone posing as Samael sent thousands of Trollocs and Madrol through the ways, and no one was sort of owning up to it. And that sort of had us talking about like who controls Trollocs, is it Padan Fain, blah blah blah. And then who sent the Trollocs in the Stone of Tyr again? Those were the direct attack were Samael, and then Semirog had sent a band of Trollocs, or like some fists Trollocs to... Actually, the Trollocs fought each other, remember, in the Stone of Tyr when Rand tried to resurrect that girl. And he uses Calandor to smite all the Shadow Spawn.
Trollocs that came in.
Yes, and
Didn't
the
she
second
send them
party
on the
was sent
boats?
by Semirag. Yeah.
Some on the boat and some
Yeah.
with Fang through the ways. Look at my
Something
memory.
like that.
Flawless. Look at it.
Sharp as a razor. We also heard from Savannah and Tharava as they were arguing in the previous episode. And Tharava wanted to move the Shido to from Malden into the hills. And we were wondering, what hills are those? Originally, she was talking about Kinslayer's Dagger, but that's all the way across the map. So all that she said in the chapter is north and east. And they can apparently get there in 2 weeks, which when you look at the map, considering the fact that Malden is in the north of Altara, she's probably talking about the hills of Kintara, which you should be able to see quite easily on the map. We were talking about the idiot boxes, which in the Old Tongue are called Narbaha, and it is Fail that translates it internally when she thinks to herself, what box of fools? What could that mean? And as we know, it was Graendal who said to Samael, don't just be calling these things idiot boxes, in front of these people. Sooner or later, someone that speaks the Old Tongue is going to catch on to you. And then the last one we had was when talking about Savannah's position as the representative of the Shido in lieu of them having a clan chief, because no one had gone successfully to Ruidian to claim being clan chief of the Shido. We were saying we were thinking about the fact that she has played a very dangerous game because it takes a couple wise ones to give a potential clan chief permission to go to Ruidian to attempt to become a clan chief. And we were wondering how many wise ones would it take? And the answer is 4. So I wonder who the 4 wise ones are that Savannah would have claimed gave Couladin the right to go to Ruidian and actually go attempt to become a clan chief, or in his case, the Kara Khan. Just no real news there, just further highlighting Savannah's precarious position. But Savannah and the Shido, as you can probably surmise from the presence of the Battle of Malden in this book, meets, I think, pretty much the end of her storyline in Knife of Dreams, which is also delicious. But enough from me. Let's listen to what we have from our loyal listeners in listener contributions. Of course, Mr. Dependable, Ian Yellen, keeps up his incredible form with this contribution. He says, enjoying the show a lot. Thanks for doing this. I think Ian himself has thanked us probably 20 times, which is always very welcome. Thanks, Ian. A few things I wanted to say, though, are the White Cloak saying references to allying the snake to fight the raven. I think this is a literal point at the Aes Sedai, who wear the serpent rings, and the Dark One, who uses ravens as spies. It is funny in a few chapters when Tuon calls down Matt later for thinking that ravens work for the Dark One. I think that's where we ended up on that whole story as well. We sort of said, yeah, it could be the Seanchan, but it's the ravens in that saying are, and the context of that conversation among those White Cloaks was to ally with the Aes Sedai in the final battle against the Shadow. I don't know if it's in these chapters, maybe even where Tuon does say something to Matt about because she talks about the omens and stuff, and Matt sort of makes this claim like, yeah, ravens work for the Dark One. And she's like, oh, you silly fool, you believe such funny things. And that's always fun when the Seanchan get things so spectacularly
maybe
wrong.
ravens aren't, and it's crows who's evil.
And the ravens are sick of this misconception about them and getting mixed up.
They're like,
and they will not stand for it.
Like the whole Kiwi Australian thing or the Canadian American, when they're traveling.
fly over a village in the Two Rivers, and next minute you get shot out of the air, misidentified. What do they call that? Like they've got a
racial profiling.
Yes,
Racial
bird profiling.
Species profiling.
Mm-hmm.
Ian continues with, Galgan isn't actually subordinate to Siroth. She says it specifically that technically the Return was supposed to absorb the Forerunners and Galgan would be in charge, but after Tuon went missing, Galgan won't say the words because then he would have been held to blame and would have to apologize to the Empress. Another spoiler alert.
Shotgun, not it. Everyone's like, Not it.
Spoiler alert, we do see a resolution to this situation in this book as well. Ian continues, also, I was curious about who betrayed Egwene as well, so I went looking, and the only answer I could find is that no one really knows. Nicola is of course the prime suspect at this point, but she left too early and wouldn't have been privy to the plan that the majority of Aes Sedai didn't even know. The next suspect is Egeanin, which I somehow missed in my first read, though, that she was Elida's version of the Saladar ferrets, but I think it says that she didn't even know of the full plan in the first place. And the third suspect was Halima, but I think the meeting in the third chapter points to it not being her. So essentially no one knows who the traitor is. Pretty much our position as well. I still think it was Nicola, even though she didn't know the specifics of the actual plan. She had enough information to have the Aes Sedai sort of keep a watch on the harbors, both the North and the South Harbor. And what was well established is not necessarily that Nicola had that specific knowledge, but that she was always sticking her nose into areas that she shouldn't be. Egwene mentions like her being caught listening where she shouldn't be listening, or like literally like listening in on a tent where other conversations are happening. So she was a massive snoop. So maybe she did glean some semblance of knowledge, enough for the Aes Sedai in the tower to be ready for whatever would happen. And
I'm going to throw a
catch
bone
Egwene in
and
the act.
say, I don't think so. I think it's a red herring. A red heron in the rushes.
So who do you think betrayed Egwene?
Maybe we find out something later.
We do when Egwene speaks to Nicola in the White Tower.
You know, Messana's in the tower. There's many other people in the tower that know things. I mean, there's rats and ravens in the tower. I mean, crows.
Rats, certainly. Ravens, I don't know. Have they said anything about ravens?
I don't know.
Time will tell. Thanks for that, Ian. Great work as always. Cole comes in with 2 more messages. Number 1, a quick note on bonding animals in episode 108. As far as I'm aware, the water bond creates an interface layer between the neural structures of the brains, exactly similar matrices in quotation marks. Information from one person's brain is sampled and relayed to corresponding structures in the receiving person's brain. I don't think it's impossible to create such a link to an animal brain, but it would take a lot of study to figure out how to map animal inputs to human outputs. Yes, agreed. That would be a pretty tricky trial and error process.
Oh, hold on now.
I have a feeling someone else is also an IT professional.
No, I'm just saying.
A lot of that coming through.
None of the people who's bonding a warder know those inside things of a brain stem connections things. How would they know? Oh, I've got to put a little weave in there, find that little atomic structure or however the big things is.
Well, they don't have to, because those things are targeted by the shape of the weave, which they copy exactly.
I don't know, Tom. What if someone's got like a little odd-shaped head? What is it based on position? Like millimeters apart? Just seems to
Maybe each water bond is slightly different because of the different shaped brains.
And then there was that one guy with really weird shaped head that died from the weave, and so these newly bonded.
Probably.
No, but
no doubt.
I am not sold. I think that they should be able to bond like eagles and fungus and everything in between.
And fungus.
Look, imagine being bonded to a shark. You can sail and then have sharks like
Be hungry all the time.
Brains might actually be the easiest option. It's like a billion-year-old brain. Just has 2 things it thinks about.
It's also really small.
Sure. That's what
Callback.
I know about sharks.
How big is a shark's brain?
Well, they had to make it really big for that big shark movie so that they could get Alzheimer's juice out of the brain. So I think like a football size.
And kill Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes,
Spoilers.
and bite off arms.
I'm pretty sure it's from that movie that I think that sharks have small brains. They had to make the sharks really big so that the brains would be bigger.
Yeah, but who says the sharks aren't like really, really big in Randland? Maybe they're like 65-foot megalodons. And
Nah, the silverpike ate them all.
They play instruments.
They have complex societies.
The structure of
Poetry,
education, law, everything.
Way down in the bottom of the ocean of the Mariana Trench, because no one has. Swan is far more scared of silverpike than no one has ever mentioned a shark.
Yeah, but they can't even go there.
Yeah.
It's just They look at the fishermen like, how primitive those humans are. Look at them catching the little small fry. It's all they live on. And then they laugh with their pipes around their mouths, like pop, 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 blowing bubbles.
Everybody get back on track. Come on now.
All right.
Let's go.
Cole's second point is the one I referred to before. He says, I believe that the waves of strange unmaking that Fael experiences are actually a Bale scream. I might be in callback zone, correct, but I believe they are briefly mentioned later in the series as a wave of instability that are the result of particularly baleful balefire. If I understand them correctly, they propagate through time and space, happening earlier as one travels further from the epicenter. I believe this Bale scream is the result of Rand's balefire at Natram's Barrow in Gathering Storm.
I like this theory.
So yes, Bale screams are explained in the books, and so that they're still coming in a subsequent book. But most people online seem to think that that event of Natran's Barrow, where Rand kills Grendel, or tries to kill Grendel, but kills Halima and a bunch of dark friends and a bunch of innocent people, I think as well, in that entire, like he made the entire manor house disappear, right? Like it's a massive balefire event. Some people also think that obviously Demandred and Taim's wanton use of balefire during the final battle could have caused this as well. But I'm pretty sure, Vil, you might have read about this already. I think someone experiences a Bale scream later in this book as well. Someone experiences these ripples, and it's not Perrin or Fael, it's someone else. Might even be Rand. I don't know. Could be wrong. But someone else experiences that same rippling sensation later in this book.
But it makes a lot of sense. Like the pattern, whatever threads is burnt out, shifts the whole pattern.
I feel like Fael's description of it as well is like she feels like she was unmade and then put back together again. You know, so like literally the pattern coming apart.
Think about it as
going
like
back
when you
together
play Tetris and you get like one long one and you just slot it into four and then the whole thing comes down. Like,
and you get a Tetris, yes.
yes, like that.
Thanks for that, Cole. Can't wait to read the book definition of a Bale scream. Jacob comes in with the knowledge and he says, hello, Moritz and all. It's been a while since I've listened. I got real busy with school. I just graduated with my PhD, but I'm glad I'm jumping back into the podcast. Congratulations, Jacob. I just finished your episodes on The Path of Daggers, where you were talking about Catswain becoming Rand's advisor and how he gets pissed and banishes her. You said specifically that he says, if I ever see you again, I'll kill you. His actual quote was, if I ever see your face again, I'll kill you. So Cadswain, in her classic Aes Sedai ways, wears a veil and stays around to help Rand. He is deep in Darth Rand stage, but he still thinks it's funny and lets her stay around and eventually forgives her. Cool. Lovely bit of pedantry and a bit of detail there. Love it. What I wonder is like, I'm struggling to see how Darth Rand would just sort of think it's funny and just forgive her eventually. I wonder if there is something specific that happens that he does forgive her. I remember Catswain brings Tam back to try and sort of help Rand out, but then Tam and Rand have a fight, and then Tam gets pissed off with Catswain because of how things have gone and what's happened to his boy and like that sort of stuff. I remember it being quite a sad and sort of dark period. Like finally Rand and Tam are reunited, but they have an actual fight, which is shitty. And I wonder if it's maybe something to do with that eventually makes Rand, or his Zen moment that allows him to forgive Cadswain.
Or more viewings from Min.
It's Min.
Maybe.
Yeah. But also, don't get involved in other people's families, man. That's a recipe for disaster, Catswain. You've been around for 400 years. You should know that by now.
Loves to meddle.
Also, maybe she does know it. She just doesn't give a shit.
More likely, yes.
Yeah. I'll do whatever I want.
I do what I want. Jacob continues with 3 notes on Aes Sedai oaths. 1. You guys asked why the tower didn't make all the Aes Sedai re-swear to find the Black Archer members, but this would be the tower admitting that the Black Archer exists, and for the majority of the books that is not a stance of the tower. Swan was worried back in the beginning that even her suggesting that it might get... even just suggesting that might get her deposed as Amyrlin. Which I feel like maybe indirectly it kind of did, but... yeah, that tracks Aes Sedai, classic blindness to reality, just turning the other way.
Yeah.
Number 2, you talked about Egwene wanting to tie all women who can channel to the tower, which is such a smart move by her as a young Amyrlin. And in your discussion about Aes Sedai retiring to the kin and unswearing their oaths, I have a question about that. Do we know if when you unswear an oath and retire, your age/lifespan goes back to the normal non-sworn length? I think the act of swearing on the oath rod is what decreases your lifespan, even if that is removed later on. This was the main driver that pushed Semirog to join the Dark One, as she was being forced to swear an oath, and she refused. What do you guys think?
I think it does lengthen your life, but you don't get back. Like, I think it takes off your life.
When you swear the oath.
Sworn on the oath. The longer you're under an oath, the harder it is to recoup that full lifespan after it's taken away. Based on absolutely nothing. I just believe that this would be cool.
This is just
like, there's got to be a price to pay for that oath. A long-term price. Like, even if you take it off, you'll live longer than you would have if you had not taken off the oath, but not as long as someone who's been channeling for 300 years with no oath ever. Is my, if you follow my drift.
But what if you drank like really good herbal tea and like followed a very healthy lifestyle as Aes Sedai, and not like getting to battles, but more like sit in the halls of negotiation for 400 years.
That is outside of the parameters of this question, right? Like, that is not what he's
No, but
asking.
it can't
He's
be the
asking
same.
the direct influence.
Okay, my stance on it is that everything goes back to normal. Just like, meow. It's like when you...
Like it never existed.
Yeah, like when you get magic spell cast on you and then it wears off, then it's
Dispel.
just like, bang, you're back to normal.
Yeah.
Incredible. I feel like I'm sitting like directly between you guys as well, because I agree with a bit of what you both have said. I feel like the oath affects the process of aging. So, like you said, Jody, when you've had an oath sworn for, like, some of these Aes Sedai have had this oath sworn for like 100+ years, right? Like, you don't get that 100. You won't live as long as someone that didn't have the oath for 100
I got
years.
it.
But I think your aging happens again at the same rate as someone that doesn't have the oath.
Yes.
I got
Based
it.
purely on the fact that, like, the other things, like the ageless look and the other things that come with the oath rod, go away or come back based on whether an oath is active or not.
If you try and break the oath and the oath stops you, it's like a mark against your age that you're going to get if you go off it. So if you push the boundaries of the oaths your
Someone's
entire
keeping
life
track.
and you take the oath off, some might just actually fall over and die. It's like,
Yeah. Like, what if you have the oath for 1,000 years? And as soon as
yes,
you take it
and
off,
you
just
and you were
disintegrate?
argumentative, trouble
Sorry.
stirring,
But
nearly
with the
killed
oath-
people.
No, but that's the opposite.
Exactly, yeah. With the oath, you don't live 1,000 years. You live much shorter with
Yeah,
it.
you would. Okay. Let's leave it there.
I think we've set it up in a sort of precarious fashion to have some kind of salient thought about it. The other point, though, that Jacob makes here about Semirog is that Semirog's push to the dark was inevitable because she took pleasure in torturing people, right? Like, that was what she was busted for in the Age of Legends, causing people unnecessary pain and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when she was caught, the other Aes Sedai gave her two choices. Either you are severed, so stilled, or you swear on a binding rod, which is what they did with criminals, right? To force them to not be able to make that mistake again. And she didn't like either of those options because she didn't want to stop and she wanted to keep doing it, and she didn't want to be stilled, so she joined the Dark One. I'll take option 3. Fuck y'all.
I choose no.
Yeah. And then the third point is, in episode 90, you all said you couldn't imagine a world where Aes Sedai didn't swear oaths because they would be too powerful and would be channeling all over the place and it would be awful. I don't remember saying anything specifically to that tone, but I also can't argue against that. It sounds like something I might say. Anyway, however, I can imagine that world. It's called the Age of Legends, and there was peace worldwide, no hunger, no bad weather due to the Bowl of the Winds, and no war. Granted, they did discover the Dark One's prison, so the age didn't end well, but for a very long time, it was literally paradise on Randland.
All for 25 years.
Yes.
But the point being missed here is that in this world, with our Aes Sedai that we have here, that feel the need to swear on the Oath Rod, the Dark One has been freed, and there is evil. You know, when the Aes Sedai were all kumbaya in the Age of Legends and nothing was going wrong and there was no concept of war, there was also no Dark One whatsoever. They hadn't found his place and tried to bore a hole into it and stuff. So in our world, maybe it can't be as... Also, no Chora trees left, right? Like, no, people aren't just lying around in the streets feeling blissful under the trees. There's a lot of strife to be had here and people with a lust for power. So, yeah. I, again, can't remember saying exactly those words, but I'm going to stand by these words that Jacob said we used. That is all for today. I hope you're enjoying or enjoyed the wedding, and I can't wait to catch up to the podcasts. Jacob, I sure did. Jacob, thank you very much. Then Corey Jackson sends in this nice message. He goes, "Hey Moritz, slowly catching up. Just finished episode 83. A few thoughts. I'm so happy you guys decided not to call this book, and hopefully the next one's The Slog." Okay, so for the rest of us, Corey is referring to Path of Daggers. That's where we were in episode 83. A book that many people lump in with The Slog, right? 8, 9, 10 is what a lot of people call The Slog. So,
yeah,
Corey,
people are dumb.
We don't call 8 and 9 The Slog, but that word has been bandied about a lot when talking about book 10, so strap in.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought of it like that. I get the reasons with all of the nobles, lack of a big final battle, etc., why you had previously thought of it so. Like, this is book 8, obviously. I was so excited for each book to come out, and this one in particular was the first one that I had to wait for and bought it in hardback. Same for me. It is amazing how different the internet was back then. My brother-in-law and I both read them at the time and would reread all of the previous books before the next one would come out to try and remember what had happened. This must have been more of a super fast skim where I only read the first few words of each paragraph because I still didn't remember anything and have gotten so many new things from this podcast as well as my most recent full reread by audiobook, so I couldn't skip or skim. Today, it would be so easy to get a 15-page super analysis of each book by AI or something, or just by looking at the various websites out there. My response to that is tread carefully.
If you could have seen my face at the AI, come on. Go and do a test, everybody. This is your homework.
The AI has given me woefully incorrect stuff about specifically the books
Just
of the
writes
Wheel of
its
Time.
own
It knows
stories.
nothing. Yeah.
Remember what I said when we toyed into these AI, can it work? And I said, no, well, Rafe lost his job, and his job is now training AI.
Well, unfortunately, he's already trained AI with some garbage. I'm also a bit sad that I'm going to catch up to you all in the next 6 months to a year, and then I'll have to wait for the next analysis. But I guess that will allow me to actually read along, which will be cool. Absolutely. And you can always read something else on the side if we're progressing too slowly for you, Corey. Just to satisfy your fantasy hunger, just like I am at the moment. Really enjoying those.
You have our permission to read other things.
Yes.
Granted.
Well, Joe, listen up to this section. Right. I've been wondering if you are all Stephen King fans. I was thinking the other day that I would love to hear you all do a podcast reread of the Dark Tower series. Okay, off to start listening to episode 84, Corey.
Nah, I've read the Dark Tower series once.
Joe.
And I didn't like the ending. Oh, man. Talk about it. A disappointing ending. But, no spoilers there. The first book, The Gunslinger, is incredible. It should be recommended reading, obligated reading in schools.
I've read only that one.
You don't need to read anything more. You've got
None of them. How many books are there?
None of them. 7, I think. Around there. I don't know. I'm going to have to Google it. They just get bigger and bigger and more ridiculous.
I remember you being really cold on the ending, but I didn't realize that you would advise to not read any of the others.
Oh, no, I would never advise you not read a book. I mean, I got through all 7 of them, so, I mean, go for it. But I'm not going to waste another minute, like, forming a podcast about it.
Okay.
No ways. No.
Jody slammed it down.
Is this the series in which Stephen King wrote himself, like, into the series?
Yes, he writes himself in the books as well. He pops up there. It kind of like bleeds into the real world, and it's all.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot.
Too fourth wall breaking
fantasy out there.
Okay.
Than that. He should stick to horror.
Okay.
I want to get a lot of hate for that, especially from Court. He's a lover of. He
Do you hear me? Do you hear Jody, Stephen? I know you're listening. Thanks, Corey.
Edit it all out.
Last message here from Nick from the UK, who says, "Hi all, loving the podcast. I'm catching up with you on episode 82 now." That's 3 episodes in the early 80s that people have referenced in here now. Listening from the UK, by the way. As a fellow pedant, I have a couple things to mention which you may have caught by now anyway. Balefire does not remove any more than the last few hours. It looks like RJ has confirmed this in an interview, but nowhere in the books do we see evidence of more than this. The longest that comes to mind is when Rand brings back Mat and Aviendha by balefiring Ravin, and this couldn't have been more than an hour tops. The Maiden of the Spear, Leah, in Shadow Logoth, definitely did not have the last month of her life erased. Doing so would have torn the pattern apart. We were talking about Leah and Rand choosing to balefire her so that she, didn't technically experience the Shadow Logoth time, which was about a month. And that's what Nick is referring to here. In the book, it tells how Leah was touched by Mashadar, and Rand uses balefire to kill her, quote unquote, before her agony began, likely meaning the agony of being touched by Mashadar, not the whole ordeal in Shadow Logoth. Nick,
It makes sense.
it does. It does.
Yeah, if you can't go back months and months, it will be crazy.
Well, maybe that's why you've got
All
that
right.
ripples now. It was just that's Leah being pulled out of the string, out of the pattern.
It was a thin stream of balefire, nothing to the effect that we've seen. Even the balefire Rand used against Ravin, which I think he described as being like as wide as his arm span, like a beam of balefire that he shot Ravin with was as wide as his arms, his outstretched arms. Leah was like a little laser.
That's a shit ton of balefire. I think I like the idea as well that the ripples come before the balefire event. That makes sense.
Yes.
It's all time shenanigans.
Oh, just to toss some time shenanigans in there. More stuff on oaths here from Nick saying, conflicting oaths sworn on an oath rod do not necessarily make you stop breathing, at least in my understanding. So, we know that swearing to obey makes you do what you are asked without necessarily meaning to, like Galena trying to not admit to planning to escape the Wise Ones. The specific example of the first Aes Sedai that Siain and Pavara make swear to obey them only stops breathing because she was ordered to say something that by the 3 oaths she cannot say, so her body was fighting against itself. Similarly, if they had commanded her to walk east while walking west, she would probably have injured herself trying to do both at the same time, maybe even tearing a muscle in the strain. So like they were telling her to divulge information that or say something that the 3 oaths had prevented her from saying. So it wasn't the oaths that were conflicting, it was the orders that were conflicting with, or an order conflicting with 2 oaths. So in the case of the Black Archer, if they swore an oath to obey and were then ordered to divulge their secrets, they would probably stop breathing. But maybe this enables them to speak due to the hour of their death rule. We should test this on Willie.
Fair enough.
So conflicting oaths are not the problem, conflicting orders are, which seems perfectly logical to me. Thanks, Nick. And then finally, less pedantic, I want to shout out the scene with Elaine, Aviendha, and Birgitte and the unraveling gateway, which was more epic in my eyes than you portrayed. 3 women hold back a Seanchan army at a bottleneck, wrestling with the limits of the weave manipulation, and their strength. Aviendha collapses and survive by the skin of their teeth. My wife is currently reading the books for the first time, and she absolutely loved that section. I remember loving that too. I think the specific image that we definitely spoke about was of Aviendha firing lots of small fireballs, like almost like machine gun fire at that gateway instead of like big fireballs. We may even have spoken about whether she was using her hands or not, which seems to come up every time I read about a Wise One or an Aiel channeling fireballs. But yeah, I mean, it certainly was an epic scene, and how cool must it be to like live with someone and watch them read The Wheel of Time for the first time, and then how infuriating must it be to not to be able to talk to them about all the spoilers and stuff that we talk about on here. I have a friend here in Bellingen who just read he listened to the entire series on audiobook. It took him just over a year, but he was like compulsively listening to it, like every spare moment he had, to the extent like he told me he had to like force himself to take breaks from it and stuff. But now he's just finished it, and I can finally like organize to go have lunch with him or something and just say, all right, cool, go forth. Just ask anything. Let's talk. Let's do full spoiler talks. And then I will conveniently email him a link to the podcast.
Yes.
Nick says, thanks for reading and keep up the good work. Right back at you, Nick. Thanks for writing in, and do keep those coming and let us know how your wife goes. All right, that's it for callbacks. So one more little piece of housekeeping to get through before we can get stuck into today's chapters, and that is what happened previously on Blood and Ashes. Swan wakes from Tel'aran'rhiod after Egwene's capture and subsequent instructions in her dreams. She rushes from the soldiers' camp where she had slept in Gareth Bryne's tent to the sisters' camp to tell the rest of the rebels Egwene is still alive and that their oaths still hold. Swan finds the sisters sworn to Egwene in Morel's tent, but notably Buonan and Nassau are not there. Egwene's boat has been found, so people know she's been captured, and some suggest a rescue, but Swan tells them Egwene explicitly said not to try and rescue her. Leilwin arrives and Shirem spills the beans about Swan's message. Leilwin takes Swan outside and asks for her loyalty as a blue. Leilwin seems to know about the sisters who have sworn fealty to Egwene. Information came from interrogating Fowlane, whom she has now captured, or sort of, put her up somewhere and told her not to leave. Swan tells Egwene that she wants to meet the rebel hall the next night, and Leilwin agrees. Egwene is still the legal eminent seat, but if Egwene is killed or stilled, she expects Swan to be loyal to her in her claim. In the meantime, Buonan is preparing to return to the White Tower. She spends a couple of minutes advising Ashmanael and Phaedrine on how to approach the mystery of the murdered sisters, but seems to inadvertently lead them down the wrong track. Later, she and her warder go to the traveling ground and travel to the White Tower via gateway, arriving at a grove, surely the Ogier Grove, and Tervail, her warder, realizes she's about to do something dangerous. Buonan calms him down, but then spots the ghost of a long-dead Aes Sedai, a sign that the Dark One is touching the world. She applies a mask of mirrors and sets off for the tower. Then, in Elida's study, she is talking with Matin Stepanios, the king of Ilion, whom she has kidnapped before Rand took Ilion by force. She plans on giving him back his throne in a show of the White Tower's power. Matin is not stoked. Tarnafir is called in and reports on the general uneasy feeling in the city. Rats, sewage, and ghosts seem to be the major talking points, but soon a woman is brought before Elida to apparently present a petition to the Amelin. When she enters, it's Buonan, and she immediately drops her disguise. Turns out she's been working on Elida's behalf all this time, and she reports to Elida that Egwene can enter Tel'aran'rhiod at her will. Elida is shocked by this, but is eager to learn the other discoveries made by Egwene while the tower has been split. Buonan shows her traveling and skimming, but Elida makes her swear not to show anyone until Elida allows it. Buonan also betrays all the ferrets, one of which is Maidani, who is getting real chummy with Elida again after them being pillow friends as novices. We then switch to a Forsaken meeting where we are in the POV of Asangar, or as we know her, Halima. She flirts with Grandel while Semirag, Missana, and Demandred plot and scheme in the corner. Demandred then gives Halima shit for losing control of Egwene and potentially ruining the rebellion, but she tells the others that Egwene is not the puppet leader that they had assumed she'd be. In Tel'aran'rhiod, Egwene has told the other rebels that it seems like the tower will be breaking apart long before the rebels do. This seems to assuage Missana's worries somewhat, and she refuses to tell Halima where Egwene is being kept so that she doesn't stage a quote-unquote rescue. This angers Halima and they start bickering, but Moradin arrives with Moghedien and Sindain in tow and stops their arguing. He announces that Samael seems to have resurfaced and that he or someone disguised as him sent large numbers of Trollocs and Madrol into the ways. Moradin demands they all report any movements of Trollocs outside the Blight and that nobody act on their own until he gives the okay. Demandred suggests finding the seals to the Dark One's prison, and in the meantime, and Moradin agrees. They are to search places Rand has been. Sindain suggests they kidnap Rand or lose Theron as she calls him, but Moradin puts a stop to that line of thinking, saying Sindain is likely to kill him in her questioning, and only Moradin will decide when and where Rand dies. Halima notes that Sindain sounds a lot like Lanfear, despite Grandel previously saying Sindain is weaker in the One Power than Lanfear was. Instead of killing Rand, Moradin orders them to find Mat and Perrin and kill them instead. We switch to Perrin, who has arranged a meeting with a nearby Seanchan force. After setting up an elaborate display of power using Two Rivers, bowmen, and Usherman, the Seanchan realize he means business and is a man of some resources. The Seanchan general, Tylee Kurgan, notes Berelain's name as a direct descendant of Arthur Hawkwing, and when she sees Perrin's eyes and hammer, she says she's relieved he was not introduced as the Wolf King due to their Seanchan prophecy of the dragon containing the following line: when the Wolf King carries the hammer, thus are the final days known, when the fox marries the raven, and the trumpets of battle are blown. Perrin offers to give up any claim to Manetheren in exchange for their support, and Tylee agrees. Perrin outlines a plan to overcome the Shido with all their wise ones using Forkroot. Tylee is not keen on this plan since she would need to deal with superiors who would not be likely to allow this use of so much Forkroot. But as a final trump card, Perrin pulls out the letter from Suroth, giving him absolute power to do anything in her name. This seals the deal, and Tylee is taken aback at the power that Perrin wields. Lastly, in the Shido camp, Fael is attending Savannah. She's planning to escape before Perrin arrives, but wonders what is taking him so long. Morgai Shane have been swearing fealty to her, and she's worried word is going to get out. Savannah complains about Galena not being impressive anymore without her hair. She offers wine to Thorava, who still prefers to drink water. Wink, wink. Savannah and Thorava argue about their next move, and Thorava reminds Savannah she did not actually go to Ruidian. But Savannah insists they stay there in Malden. Fael and her fellow guy Shane are relieved by the next shift. While my notes here said Fael and her fellow guy Shane are relieved by the next shit. While she leaves the tent, she hears Theravus tell Savannah that Benduin, Sept-Chief of the Green Salts, has gotten permission to go to Ruidian. He will replace Savannah once he returns. Savannah is furious at not being informed, but since she is not a clan chief, only speaking for one as a widow, there was no need to tell her. On her way back to her tent, Fail is stopped by another wise one and is asked to report on what was said in Savannah's tent. While they're talking, they feel the ripples we described in the last episode. Back at her tent, she finds her allies, and they are not in high spirits. While Fail is comforting Aleandre, Aravine arrives with news that Elvon and Theril, the father and son famous for escaping multiple times, want to see her. Turns out Theril stole the oath rod from Therava's tent. They're interrupted by Roland, who tells Fail the brotherless are planning on leaving and she should come with him. She now has the Galena plan and the Roland plan to draw upon if she wishes. She hides the oath rod in the city, and the searchers in the Guy Shane camp turn up nothing. And that brings us to our current 4 chapters, starting with chapter 6, called A Stave and a Razor. Joe, let's stave off the boredom and raise our glasses to chapter 6.
Estave and Rathor. Matt goes shopping in Gerador. The end. Willie, you loved this chapter, didn't you?
I did. I
Billy
really
loves
did.
the shopping chapters.
Very.
He just loves it when Matt goes shopping.
Well, at first it was the meat pie, and the meat pie that he bought was still
the meat
warm. He even half believed that there was beef in it. A stave,
Half,
a
Billy.
piece of ewe with its finely braided
I was joking.
grains.
I do actually have notes.
No, I
Yeah,
still
but
just
chapter,
joke.
bro.
This is my chapter. What are you talking about?
All right, Joe, lay it on us.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect so much from Billy. He's been like 9 weeks. He's got a lot to say. So really, Matt does go shopping at Gerador. But first he goes to Luca to convince him to leave this town. Yeah. They got things to do. He's got places to be. He's got a wife to marry. It's a world to save. He can't be piss farting around here in every little fly-speck town. But Luca smells money in this salt town. Another salt town. There's lots of salt going around. So there's no way he's leaving for at least another 2 days. So Matt decides, fuck it, I'm going for a shop. Walks into town with the dice spinning in his head and buys a meat pie. That delicious mystery meat for breakfast. And then he sees a stick and he buys a stick. A black stick.
He does.
He loves a stick. Then he goes looking for a horse as a gift for Tuon. What a thoughtful husband to be. We get a very detailed overview of what to look for when shopping for horses. I'm not going to reply or repeat any of it because none of us are ever going to go shopping for horses like this. But if you are interested, you should go read the book. And I don't think that we should trust Matt's horse knowledge because he ends up buying a zebra. Someone should tell him that's not a horse. So he heads back to the show to leave the zebra in the horse lines for later because he doesn't want to quite give it to Tuon just yet. And of course, because no one will notice a zebra tied up amongst all the other not zebras. And then heads to Tuon's wagon. At Tuon's wagon, he of course walks in unannounced. Knocking is not a thing he does. And of course he sees Noel and Ulva in there. They're always in there. And they're playing snakes and foxes, and Noel's spinning his wild tales of Shara and the Ayad and the, those things. Tuon admonishes Toy for not knocking and he tells his Precious that he'll try to remember for next time. He thinks that he is just the bee's knees with that little comment, telling her that you've got a little name for me, I've got a little name for you. And Tuon thinks for a second and then smiles and says she thinks she will welcome this new game. And immediately he's like, uh-oh, what game? He didn't know it was a game. If it's a game, he can lose. And
He
against
lost
her,
the
will
minute he
definitely
started,
lose.
unfortunately.
He should have kept his smart-ass mouth closed. But, this is Matt. He's never going to do that. Oliver has a cup in front of him. I thought this was interesting to mention as well. And Matt immediately thinks, like, I hope that's more water in that glass than wine. I hope it's watered down wine. And everybody's like, dude, it's goat's milk. He's a child. Why would he have wine in the first
The
place?
beauty of it is there, Joe. He's like, who's these people that's putting bad influence on Ulva? And he's
Exactly.
if I get hold of the men that it's cool and okay for them to be taught the sword and the bow, but that's where it's got to stay, not this leering at woman. Like if I find out who's teaching him to leer. Meanwhile,
Yes.
is that? I
I
hope
know
that's not
exactly.
watered
Who's
down
teaching you to
wine.
drink? Like he's just thinking about how everyone else is a bad influence, but he's just assuming that children drink wine. Of course, not goat's milk. But anyway, he is drinking goat's milk. It's fine. Everybody looks at Matt like, dude, we're not going to give a child wine. Noel carries on with his Shara tales. So Matt, in jest, asks him if there's any relation to Jane Fastrider. Boom. Noel takes a long think. The whole vibe in the wagon changes before answering that he's not Jane, but Jane was his cousin. Ulva's mind is blown. Like, as you can just imagine this kid. Jane Fastrider is his favorite book. Cousins! But Noel is not so stoked about it. He, he gets lost, in his thoughts. He gets that 1,000-yard stare. He says, adventure and all of that is all well and good, but not, Jane left his wife to die while he was off on his travels. He's not such a great man. He gets all sad, and Tuon comforts him, saying, you're a good man, buddy. Don't worry about it. Nothing like your cousin. Matt notes that he doesn't even get that much concern from her. Before he can get too upset, though, over Noel getting all of Tuon's kindness, the door bangs open to admit Julian. The Seanchan have arrived in town. Be careful. Then he darts off to find Thera before she sees them and blows everyone's cover by prostrating herself and spilling all the beans. And that's basically it. That's what happens. There's lots of finer details in this chapter, but this is the general gist of it. The end. Ideas? Thoughts?
I have many in-depth little discussions we can have. Firstly, Black Ewe.
Oh,
yeah.
This stave that he buys.
Black Ewe.
Braided grains. It's a
Yes.
bow that will shoot double as any other piece of wood. That's significant. Find.
It's the Damascus steel of trees.
Yes, it's like sungwood. A razor is not a zebra,
Yes.
Jody. I don't know where you get that outlandish.
It is a zebra.
It's not a zebra.
my note on that is just in all caps, zebra? Question mark.
Should be quagga. You're going to suggest it's a quagga?
No, not at all. It's a horse. If you look and you listen and you
Just a
know
horse that looks
anything
like a
about a
zebra.
horse and you know anything about a zebra, that the dimensions that he measures is not realistic in a zebra.
No, of course not.
Really.
But the
Just a
colouring
horse
is much more...
disguised
And
as a
plus,
zebra.
almost, it's like what you are assuming there is, or what you are saying, not assuming. You're saying that this is a dude that's buying an
saying it.
engagement ring and went out and bought a cubic zirconia. Because that's not what a razor is. A razor is like prime horseflesh. Horse from a horse trader. Not horse and wildlife trader. Horse trader.
How do you know? You don't know this guy. You don't know his background, his expertise.
His stables was clean. He had a cat working hard against
Mm-hmm.
rats. And a pimply-faced attendant who paraded the horses. I think he knew if he was buying a zebra.
Maybe this is a new Randland species of zebra horse hybrid. Built like a horse, looks like a zebra.
It's just that it's a description of the patchiness of the animal. Clean lines.
No,
between the
it's
two.
not. It's literally
straight white and black lines.
that look like they are separated by a razor, hence the name. Like it's not like patchy at all. Like he's describing a zebra.
No.
But with a
refuse
horse's shapes, dimensions.
Yes.
It's very much a horse-looking thing, if not for the coloring.
Look, a very strange coloring for a horse. Maybe he was just reaching for like, what's the weirdest looking horse I can think of? Oh yeah, a zebra is a pretty weird looking horse. Let me describe that.
Exactly. Because I think this is what we should take issue with in this fantasy series. Everything else makes sense. Balefire,
Yes. The description of the musculature of a zebra.
Yes.
That's
Because it was
what we really need
described
to
as that of
drill.
a horse.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it was very confusing. Yeah. We'll drill down to this tangent podcast on our Patreon.
It's described as a sexy
There'll be a
horse,
whole
not just
6-week
any
course.
horse. Sexy horse.
Sexy horse.
It's listen. What we need to take away from here is because this is like the horse of fucking horses. Like if you could get a razor, you've made it in life, kind of a thing.
What's Gandalf's horse called? Shadowfax.
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 I
He's
see.
just pure
I see Shadowfax with some lines. Shadowfax with camo.
Okay.
Camofax. That's
Shadowfax.
what his name is.
Right, Vil, what other pearls do you have from this chapter?
Made me want to have meat pie, and because I've been having a very long commute,
Horse pie.
I listened to these chapters actually like a lot of times because I was like, oh, this is just such a fun, good mood. Listen, and I needed some good moods. So listen to the pie a lot.
I think you're full of shit.
Listen
is
to
what I
the
think.
bow a lot. Listen to the negotiation from 10 crowns gold to 5 gold, 5 silver, 10 marks or whatever, and some pennies.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about horse dealing.
Everybody came out of that deal thinking that they won.
Yes.
It's a great negotiation. Everyone's a winner.
I like the fact that Matt was able to walk and eat a pie at the same time. Like anyone that's eaten a meat
But he
pie
didn't
knows
appear
that
drunk.
that can be tricky.
And his hip was so sore he had
That's
to
what pies are
ride
for.
the horse back home.
I mean, you
it's
can
road
walk
food.
with a pie and sit somewhere and eat it, but like while walking and eating like a hot pie, like that could be problematic. And then also
Well,
while
it
he's
was
eating, he's like
still
he's wiping his
warm.
mouth
It
on his
wasn't-
sleeve.
Mm.
He is such a pig. I can
He
see why
is.
Narim loses his fucking mind.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear you, Vil. I don't think it
Hate
was
to be
hot.
one of those guys.
Yeah, it was just it's like it's
hot.
the next morning pies. Not the night before,
Just
just
reheated.
baked. It's like it's the 11
No,
o'clock.
they bake them early in the morning. That's how
11's
bakers
his
roll,
pies.
right? Wake up at 2 in the morning, bake at 4.
Rat pie.
Love a rat pie. Was it another tangent? Demolition Man?
Yeah. Yes.
Were you about to call it? Rat burger.
Rat burger, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's wow! What a throwback.
I still don't know how those 3 seashells work. Still to this day. It's a
No. Okay. What else, Vil?
Yeah, nothing else.
What do I have? You've noted most of mine. Oh, this is the very next morning after Renna's death. Did you say that in the beginning, Joe?
Yeah.
It's the very, very
No, I
next
did
day. So, like, we're continuing straight on with old Matt. Lots of mentions now of ghosts across the board, right? Like ghosts in Tarvalon, Matt's encountering ghosts, Perrin encountered ghosts in that town. So it's like even old Egeanin saw one in the Ogier Grove at the White Tower. And she sort of puts a name to it, and says like, this is a surefire sign that the Dark One is touching the world. So like it's being, the stakes are ratcheting up, right, for the reader, like with the weather being all fucked up and ghosts now here. Bale screams happening, like all these weird bubbles of evil with that town sinking into the ground. Like, yep, shit's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Yeah. End times, bro.
Is it when Matt calls Tuon precious, she responds with like, oh, okay, cool, we'll see how this game goes. And then Matt thinks to himself, she saw a game and that meant he could lose. He was likely to, since he had no idea what the game was.
Yes, I mentioned that, but that's when you were getting up to go check on your cat at the door.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna let that slide and let him pick it up in editing.
No.
That's good shit. What else did I have here? So Jane Fastrider was compelled by Ishamal, right? Like he's the one that was made to deliver a message to the steading or something like that. Like Ishamal had corrupted his head. So when Noel here, Jane, when Noel is relaying the story, he says to himself that Jane wasn't such a remarkable man. He was made a tool by, and then he just trails off. And I wonder if that is still the effect of the compulsion. Remember how like Nynaeve and Elaine couldn't quite remember when they were compelled by Moghedian in Tanchico or somewhere. I'm just opening myself up for callbacks here. Like the person that was compelled.
100%.
the person that was compelled can't remember who it was, so maybe this is like still the after effects. Like he knows that he was taken advantage of, but even now he can't put a name to it.
I never thought of it like that. I thought he was shutting up because he didn't want to blow his cover too much.
Certainly a possibility. I mean, you could say that Jane was made a tool by someone, but he seemed to be like sort of lost in thought and sort of like trailed off, and like you said, maybe didn't want to go into too much detail. That's all I had for chapter 6, so we can forge ahead then to chapter 7, called A Cold Medallion. Vil, don't leave us out in the cold. What happens in chapter 7?
And that happens. It's very exciting. The Seanchan's there. So, of course, there's high panic stations because there's a lot of vulnerable things being stored and kept away in this traveling menagerie of Baron Luca. Some of them are Aes Sedai, and some of them are prisoner sul'dam. Just for a moment, I almost thought they were Domani because there's so many Domani around. Either which way, as Matt now runs out to see that everyone is doing the right thing and staying out of sight and investigate this approaching Seanchan, they now spot it. They've already been started putting up camp. So it wasn't just like they just marched into town. But 3 of them break away and decide to bunk their... call that skip on work, skip school.
In Australia, they call it bludging.
And walk off to the show, and also just walk straight in, but find that security wasn't lacking. And all of a sudden, Petra and everyone else had bludgeons and cudgels and things in their hands, ready to go to town. Because these 3 make out that they were being wronged. They paid and then told like they're being extorted. This is when the standard bearer pulls up, but she wasn't overly surprised at the 3. It's kind of like she was expecting that this was going to be the 3 that would slip away, go to the movies, instead of do the hard work for the Empire, or for the Empress, may she live forever. And she then puts them in the dog box for 10 days, no pay, no show, you've been caught, bad kid. But also then starts to recruit for the army. Great adventure. From what Matt can see now during all of this, and she questions him, is that there's only a few Seanchan's shoulders and a lot more of the Taraboners and all the rest. So it's like a makeup army. What do you call them? A Seanchan army, but more like a regiment of locals. So not so stressed now all of a sudden.
Foreign legion.
Yeah, like a foreign legion. Recruitment speech over. Lucan declines adventure. Matt is like, yep, I would definitely not be good in your army at all. Good lies. Anyway, dice rattling away in his head. And then he walks through the old setup of their show. And there's a lot of description about the layout and all of that until he comes to the caravan and his medallion goes ice cold. And he has a real gutful what the fuck moment. And kicks down the door.
So did I.
Yeah, he's... What?
I was going to kick down that door.
Oh, he does. He doesn't kick it quite down. But he finds Jolene is in the middle of dishing out slapsgiving to Betherman. And he's like, what the what? And as she's about to strike, because she's not just doing one-handed strike, she's like using both the left and the right hand and dishing them out. And he grabbed her hand mid-air, so she rounded on him, and she gives him, before he even realizes, a massive PK. And he cracks and rolls her over onto his lap, and he goes to town. You can imagine, like, I've got you now. I'm going to get as many shots in as I can, and then, I'm going to regret it later.
Before your warders murder me.
Yes, but he does. Tears are rolling, and his medallion is now causing frostburn on his chest. Because everyone's now channeling at him to try and grab him from this, but everything is just dissipating off. It's Satella and Nun, her mouth is hanging open, like, what is this magic that's happening in front of me here? But with a nice roll, he eventually gets in the last few, not knowing how many pairs of brookies and skirts she's got under on. He makes sure his hand was stinging now, and throws her off, and she falls with a thud and a oof, and she is not best pleased.
Safe to say.
Yeah, safe to say. Anyway, Stella Nunn steps in, and she's sort of like, whoa, get the peace. Story comes out, what happened. So Bethaman and Seta was trying to prevent Jolene, the ever childish one, from going out, who wants to go and walk and see what all the Seanchan is about. Not a very wise idea. This turned into an argument that turned into sparks being channeled by Bethaman on the Aes Sedai, which turned into a lot of channeling and slapsing. But Seta is like in a state of complete disbelief, shock, anger, torment by what she's seen, and Bethaman is just crying. And now it's the whole spillover of, well, now she can channel, you can't just leave her. And where there's a lot of disagreement as well, and Matt sees this disagreement about what they need to do with this woman now that she can channel is also his way out, because they are all engrossed in kill her. There's some very dark thoughts that come out there for Aes Sedai, I must say. Anyway, but she at one moment told Matt, like, if you ever think, and he was like, what do you want another? He was ready to give her round two, because by then she's closed the door and he knows, okay, the warders aren't going to get in. So yes.
Because that's the one thing that can stop two warders is a wooden door on a wagon.
But he now
just put up a force field.
Knows exactly what he's in for, because now they also know about his medallion, because Satella Nun said, you must have a terangriel. I've heard of such things, you know. I own an inn. I have served many Aes Sedai, Satella Nun. And so he's, after a very troubled sleep that night, they wake up the next morning in another chapter, which isn't mine. The end.
Hooray.
Doesn't she name drop Catswain?
Yeah.
Like,
she name drops Catswain.
Like, how the fuck do you know Catswain?
Saying Catswain used to have one that could do a similar thing.
Yeah. So does everybody here in the wagon now like kind of clock on that Satella
No, only Matt
was at the tower?
She says in this book at some point she comes clean and says she used to be an Aes Sedai.
Yeah, it's in my.
It's pretty clear at this point.
I can't remember if it's in this scene.
That's my next chapter. She to Matt. Matt figures it out by a few questions. We'll get there, but when they were standing there not knowing what to do while Matt was spanking the daylights out of Jolene, she said to the other Aes Sedai, "You would never have passed the for the shawl if you can't stand in this moment and move." Because they froze, because they're channeling and it's not working, so they don't know what to do, so they're stuck in one of those tests.
Yeah.
She's like,
she knows those 100 weaves under duress,
and Matt is the only one that picked
it's like
up
super
on it.
duper obvious.
Now I've got it. Yeah.
Joe, did you have anything about that chapter?
Yeah, because he doesn't just leave. After he leaves, he encounters the two warders who have felt a whole bunch of shit coming through that water bond. And he's like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't go in there, bro. You know, those women.
I wouldn't want to get a spanking.
He thinks to himself that if he had been one of Jolene's warders, he would have found tasks to do that kept him from her wagon for 1 or 2 months.
Yeah, I like how he just bullshits his way through those two guys. And they're suspicious, but they can't prove anything, so they're like, okay, you can go through. He's like, oh, thank God.
And I'm pretty sure for the
I'm
rest
good
of
with
the
quarterstaff, but I don't know.
pretty sure that for the rest of the time when they're traveling together, he's like avoiding them specifically, and they're giving him hard stares and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't have anything beyond that. That's a pretty straightforward chapter. So let's move along then, I guess, to chapter 8 called Dragon's Eggs. Willie, let's egg Jody on for a summary.
Yes, you do that.
Yeah, you almost freaked me out there for a second. But very nice. Nicely done.
Spoiler alert,
Except that
I
one
freaked
time
myself out
Jody
as I
messed
read
that. Dragon's Eggs, you say. I do have some notes for those. Yes. Abandoned camp. The noise of everybody abandoning and breaking camp wakes Matt up. He is groggy and surprised that they're on the move. He's also on the floor because last night was Bail Domon's turn. Remember, he's still sharing a wagon with those two. And it was his turn for the bed. So he wakes up on the wooden floor, not happy, in the darkness. Gets up to go see what the fuck is going on. Everybody is on the move. Shit is being packed. Dogs are being fed. Lions are being groomed. I don't know. Bunch of things that you need to do with animals to get them ready. So he's walking around trying to get information about like what's happening. He gets up, he sees old Petra the strong man, outside, who speaks more words to Matt in this one scene than he has in the rest of the series combined. He gives Matt a lesson in social justice, how the world actually works. He's quite an intelligent man. He sees things. He has an emotional intelligence, I'd like to say, more than a academic intelligence. So he's telling Matt basically, after yesterday's trouble, you remember those Seanchan guys who tried to skip the line? Even though we, the touring minstrels, were in the right, we better get the fuck out of town before there's retaliation. Because they are strangers, and strangers are never welcome. When it comes down to it, some magistrate might uphold the law if there's a fight, if it comes to blows with the Seanchan. Maybe again, that woman who's in charge, what's her name? I forgot. Anybody remember? Who's the banner general or the banner?
Tiny Kurgan? That's treating with
This
parent?
one is just banner sergeant, whatever.
Oh,
banner
yeah.
sergeant, whatever.
Right.
The one that stopped those three guys from trying to get in start cuck at the thing. Anyway, maybe she sticks up for them again today, or maybe not if there's a fight. Better to just get the fuck out of here before any trouble starts.
Because Luca definitely didn't speak the night before about his letter and having royalty to someone.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Who did he speak to about that?
The night, it's off the page. So it comes, I think it's a little bit later that's why Matt goes and sort of speaks to him and he declines it.
All right. Well, luckily, they're going. That's the gist of it. Luca's obviously on board as well because he's also up and he's doing shit. Luckily, Matt and Vannon have the Red Arms to break camp for them while they, fart around and sleep in. Like, Vannon is on the same level of respect as Matt. Matt doesn't have to do anything, neither does Vannon. Everyone just leaves Vannon. He just rolls back in his blankets and is like, wake me when everything's ready, and then I'll go. So everybody's like, fine. But things are done quickly. It's before the sun is even up. The whole show is on the road. While they're on the road, of course, the Aes Sedai keep probing Matt's medallion. It's constant chilly chest hairs for him during this trip. He wants to go and ride up alongside Tuon and her wagon, but he doesn't want to appear too eager. He's got this whole thing like, if you appear too eager, then the woman has control, and then you la 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 la. Yeah, whatever, bro. He just wants to get a better look at her. He's falling for her. Deeper and deeper. However, he does need to get to know her a bit more if she's going to be his wife. There's that whole thing looming. He does need to get to know her a bit better. And they pass a few fly-speck villages along the way. Nothing big enough for Luca to bother himself until they reach a place called Runnian Crossing. It has some sort of river next to it and a big open area that they can set up their tents. Luca heads off to negotiate with the town council, comes back all pissed off that they want free tickets for themselves and the extended families. Politicians, when they find a chance to get free shit for themselves. So, they setting up there for the night. Everyone set up camp again. We're going to be performing here. That first night that they're there, he visits Aludra. She's still there, remember? He's figured out why she wants a bell founder. She wants brass lofting tubes. That's what he's figured out. He just can't figure out why she wants brass lofting tubes. So she goes, you are a very clever, handsome young man. So she explains it to him, the whole idea that she has about dragons. She's making cannons. She's like, yes, we need brass lofting tubes because we need bigger bangs that go further, and leather ones or the paper ones that I use will just explode and kill you where you stand. No projectiles. And these projectiles that we're going to put in, I'm going to call dragon's eggs. Matt is impressed. Super impressed. And he's already making plans on how to use them. He's already seeing their effectiveness in his mind. He can just see explosions in enemy forces happening in front of him. And he's like, immediately, like, these things are going to be heavy. They're going to be brass. We need to move them. We need to put them on wagons with wheels. And she's like, dude, you are very clever, but I've already thought about that. She's already got plans drawn up for wagons with wheels and 4 horses and can pull them and blah, blah, blah. She's like, wow, this is amazing. These things are going to be game changers. Yes, now, if you recall, she promised him that if he could figure out why she wanted a bell founder, that she would reveal her secrets to him. And that deal's a deal, so she will tell him what gunpowder is. And he's like, whoa, don't tell me. I know another guy who you should talk to about this. He has enough power in the land that every bell founder from, let me look at my map, Windbiter's Finger to Faldara, if we're going in that direction, he could tell all of those bell founders to start making dragons for you. Like, this is the guy that you need to talk to. And just thinking about him makes the colors swirl. And for once, Rand coalesces fully clothed and not with Min in bed in his mind, and he sees Rand talking to Loyal. Pause. Timeline check. Is this where he was meeting up before he disappeared? Where is he with Loyal right now? You guys have read ahead. Is this when he was chatting with Loyal and that other guy?
This is just before they get attacked.
This is at. Hasn't Loyal come back already?
Manor.
Hasn't Loyal?
Because he came back with the other Usherman.
Yes, with Carlden.
They are together in that manor house. They're at the manor house. And
Rand is.
They're making plans.
Rand is convalescing at the manor house after the cleansing of Sidene. And there's a bunch of Aes Sedai with him there, both sworn to him and not. Logain and the Aes Sedai that they have bonded arrived there. Davrin Bashir is there. Rand sent Logain and Bashir to go meet with the Seanchan and tell them that Rand wants to meet this daughter of the Nine Moons. And Bashir came back. So it's at that manor house. Loyal and Calden have arrived there.
That's not later on because I don't know if Loyal ends up traveling with Rand here, if they stick together from now on. You guys have read ahead.
No.
You tell me.
Loyal leaves.
No. He leaves again.
Okay, don't say anything else. All right, so lots of the colors swirling. Matt has got so much crap happening in his head, eh? Colors swirling, dice rolling.
Other people's memories.
Yeah, poor guy. And then everyone's still giving him shit every day.
It's busy in there.
I feel sorry for the guy. Yeah. So, of course, Aludra wants to know who he's talking about. But when he tells her, she's like, I'll tell you, but you're not going to believe me. But a couple of people know the secret. If you want to go double check what I'm saying, go speak to Tom. He knows, but keep it on the down low. Don't speak in front of a bunch of people. And he gives her a list of 3 or 4 people who know the secret that she can confirm. But she goes, all right, no, I believe you. And commits to stay with him. She's like, all right, well, if I want to meet the Dragon Reborn, he's going to create all those dragons for me. For me to get my revenge on the Seanchan. I am not leaving your side. You and I are sticking together from now on. Just what he needs. Another woman in his life that he's attracted to. And she is of him, but she's like, no, you got a bit too much going on with all these women in your life. Yes, what does she say? Like, you're juggling 2 women and I will not be juggled. So he shakes her hand, and for a second, the dice stop. Slow down. Something happened. And he's like, what? What was that?
Just rolled over like a foul piece and then off
Yeah,
the
but then the dice are
piece.
going again. So he's like, oh, no, what, did it slow down? Okay, he doesn't know. We know. We find out later. It's coming. So anyway, next morning, sitting on the steps of his wagon, Egeanin and Domon come out dressed in their Sunday best, and they just bugger off without a word and come back an hour later to announce that the local wisdom has married them. They are man and wife, and there is much rejoicing. Yay! Matt, of course, is looking at them thinking, Domon? What's wrong in your brain, bro? Why would you marry her? But, hey, man, every couple's got their own thing. Stay out of it. It's nothing to do with you. They are happy. That's what's important. And that's how Matt gets kicked out of his wagon and ends up in a tent. Pitched right in front of Tuon's wagon. Of course, a newly married couple need their privacy, and Matt is out on his ear. But he gets a cool tent. It's not a bad tent. And, of course, he sets up in front of Tuon's wagon so that he can see her every day. Then we get recaps on everyone's movements while he's in his tent. Nerim and Lopen are still around. They are still complaining about who needs to scrub his jackets and his coats and his polish his boots and whatnot and whatnot. Olva, Tom, Noel, Julian, and Amathera, they all pop in from time to time for some board games and some spy reports. Reports like the Dragon Reborn is dead or missing. Matt's like, don't worry about it. I do know he's not, but I can't tell you why because you think I'm insane. And probably tried to kill me as a dark friend. So I'll just keep that to myself. Of course, Egeanin and Domon's marriage raises a lot of questions in the camp. If you recall, Matt and Egeanin are actually traveling together in disguise as lovers and da-da-da-da-da. And that's what the whole troop has been told. And now they see that she is married to Domon and he's out on his ear. And what's going on there? Rumors are flying. He gets a lot of dirty looks, but he also gets a lot of commiseration, surprisingly. Lots of women start approaching him going, oh, so sad that you broke up, flattering their, or flickering. What do you do with your eyelashes?
Flutter.
Flutter?
There's a verb. Flutter. Flickering their eyelashes at him.
Just sitting there flicking eyelashes at him.
Yeah. It's so gross. And he's like, no ways, bro. But he's
I'm
like,
running to
listen,
that.
I got enough on my, yeah. He's got Tuon. He's got enough to deal with. So Tuon, of course, thinks this is utterly hilarious, what's going on with Matt in the camp at the moment. But Matt ends up eating lunch together with her every day. They play stones at night. Most nights. Some nights she won't let him into the wagon because the door's locked. Because of one of her Seanchan superstitions.
Superstition.
There was
Stupidsitions.
Stupidsitions. Yeah, like the ravens are good luck. They're not bad luck. Somebody, you what is the thing? You draw a line through a line of ants, and then you count how long it's going to take for the ants to rejoin the line, and he's just listening to her going like, what the fuck are you talking about? Utter bullshit things. Like someone broke a spider web while the spider was still on it, and that means 1 year of bad luck. Some crazy shit. So he's just like, whatever. Yes, dear, do what you do. But he is happy that she's feeding him regularly because that is a very good sign. Once you get a woman to feed you regularly, your foot's already in the door. You're on your way. In his opinion. One evening, Tuon asks him about the Dragon Reborn. And he's like, me? I don't know anything about Dragon Reborn. Because her prophecies require him to kneel before the Crystal Throne before Tarmon Gaidon. She also tells him they need to secure the person who blew the Horn of Valir. He might be, or he, she, or whoever blew it, might be as important as the Dragon Reborn themselves. And he's like, so they found the Horn of Valir, did they? That's interesting. He's like, yeah, I've heard reports about Felmay and what happened there, and it's very disturbing. We've got to find this hornblower. But he's staying tight-lipped on any horn blowing from his side. He ends up losing a stones match during this conversation, which he was clearly in the lead with and was obviously going to win. But when she started talking about all this stuff, he got all distracted and he ended up with a draw. And she notices this at the end of the game. It's just like, yeah, you were in a very good position to win. What happened? And then he says, you can see her mind working as she traces back to when he started playing badly and what they were talking about at that time. He's like, God damn it, she's onto me. Yes, she's not the leader of the Seanchan Empire for nothing, for being a dummy. A few days later, he manages to get Tuon out of her wagon and to give her a gift. Zebra. When he gives her the zebra, there's a clear difference in the sound of the dice in his head. He now realizes that there are multiple dice rolls going on at the same time. So previously, when he shook Aludra's hand, one set of dice stopped. That was something he had to do. But he had a whole list of things to do, and the dice were just rolling and rolling and rolling. Another one was give Tuon this gift. So another set of dice stopped rolling, but there's still dice rolling in his head. So he's got at least
Must
3
be
sets
maddening.
going at any given time. I don't know how he sleeps.
I've got a
shame, poor guy.
semblance with my constant tinnitus, except it's not rattling. It's just more like
That's a thing.
all day long.
All day long, every
Tinnitus
day.
is a hell of a thing. Yeah.
Goes through stages.
My brother has tinnitus as well.
Sometimes it's like very bad.
Why do you have tinnitus, Willie?
I don't know, bombs, guns. I don't know. Just a lot of things went off loud next to my ears.
What kind of a background do you have? It was all the bombs and guns that Willie was hearing growing up. Where did you live, bro? No, Tim, my brother, has it because he was in a band for like 10 years playing on live music. So
All those raves I
he was
went
all
to in
shocked.
my 20s, dancing in front of big ass speaker walls.
Yes.
Mm.
Probably that.
That'll do
yes, that was it. Raves. I went to one rave. It was terrible. I don't recommend it. So where were we? A few days later, yes, we get to meet. He manages to get Tuon out of her wagon. Oh yes, multiple dice rolls. Sorry. Anyway, Tuon is stoked. She loves her zebra horse. Matt did very well. Selusha gives him, of course, a look that he cannot read. It could be good, could be bad. Who knows? They go for a test drive because that's what you do with a brand new horse. With Selusha between them, of course. Matt has already planned ahead. He knew she'd be coming along, so he got one of the Red Arms just to get her a horse. And he doesn't know if she can ride very well or not, so he gets a super chill horse. Someone who's calm. And yeah, Tuon being very impressed with the razor earns Matt some serious brownie points with her.
Mm-hmm.
So they start going down the road. First at a walk, then at a trot, then at a canter. And then as they pass a bunch of tinkers, a caravan of tinkers, should I say, Tuon veers off the road and gallops into the forest like a crazy person. Matt swears under his breath and follows rapidly, and they leave Selusha in the dust on her tranquil mare. After about a mile of zigzagging through trees and all kinds of things, she suddenly reins in. Matt has kept up this entire time. And Matt just lays into her, giving her a dressing down and saying some things he knows he's going to regret. He's giving her orders and telling her she'll never do any of that again. And when he finishes, he realizes, oh shit, I went too far. Where's the explosion? And there's no explosion. She just takes it in her stride and starts thinking about other things almost instantaneously. This game is getting serious. Matt is losing. Matt's losing, everyone. There are some ruins lying around, like a head of an old statue that was at one point very, very large. And Tuon asks him if he knows what this place was. And he's about to say no, but his old memories kick in. And he actually has thousands of memories of this place over multiple generations of people. But they all end with him dying. And he remembers dying. I was thinking, you think all those dice in your head's bad enough. Now the memories, and he can remember dying multiple times. And he does not like it. The memory of dying is not cool. So he's kind of zones out like Noel did, and he turns kind of white in the face. Blood drains from him. Tuon notices his unease and asks him if he's ill. They should go back to camp. He's not looking good. They'll get some herbs. She has some skill with that. She'll give him some medicine. He's like, no, I'll be fine. And that's when eventually Selusha catches up with him on her slow horse to tell them that, hey, the Tinkers are following us. Tuon is like, all right, we can outrun them. Let's go. And Matt tells him, listen, you've got nothing to worry about when it comes to Tinkers. You've never met them, but I promise you, they're nothing to fear. They have those big dogs, but they're guard dogs. They'll be fine. And they're probably coming to check on you because they saw us, you running into the forest and me chasing after you. Maybe they think you're in danger. And that's exactly what has happened. So they start walking back, and they meet the Tinkers in the forest on the way back, and it is exactly what Matt said. The men kind of like separate from the women, and they go stand close to Matt to kind of separate him from the ladies, just in case something untoward has been happening. The women go and stand around Tuon and Selusha, and Matt's like, uh-oh, I wonder what they're going to say. She might just say some stupid shit like I was trying to kill her just to get me into trouble, because that is exactly like her. The Seeker greets him, and Matt replies with the Tinker greeting, and he's like, oh, you know something of the people. And he's like, yeah, I know a little bit about you. Not as much as Perrin, but I've met some Tinkers in my time. And he says, because they were heading in the direction of Ibu Da, and he's like, yeah, I've seen quite a few Tinker wagons all heading towards Ibu Da. You know, the Seanchan are in control of Ibu Da. And they're like, yeah, we've heard. That's why we're going. Seanchan lands are safe. There's law and order. We'll be protected. Like, word has spread amongst the Tinkers that if you don't want to be murdered in your sleep, head to Seanchan control territory. Matt's like, yeah, that's true, I suppose. They do keep a tight rein on things, but he does warn them that safety comes at a price. They are huge into slavery. Something you might want to consider. And also chaining women who could channel. So, and they're like, no, we'll do the same thing we always do. If we find someone who channels, we'll just take them to Tarvalon. It's like, yeah, unless the Seanchan find them first. But, yeah, they're going to take their chances. The women suddenly burst out laughing, and everyone visibly relaxes. Except Matt, who's now 110% convinced that laughing is at his expense. He's correct, it is. Yes. But the Tinkers are happy that Matt is not a rogue trying to take advantage of these women, so they let them go and they head back to camp. Finn.
Ah, the end.
Ish.
I've got a handful of notes here, not a lot.
I covered everything there. Matt gives a horse a...
zebra.
No, not a zebra. A horse, and they go galloping, and there's Tinkers, and all that was true. That happened. So, yeah.
It's all true. Just confirming that Jody was telling the truth. I wasn't using AI just to make up stories. Matt grew wings and shot fireballs from his ass.
At one point, Matt's playing with some of Aludra's fireworks, or he's thinking about them at least. And there's a point where she says to him, I think, and bear with me, it's been like 2 months since I've read these chapters, but I think she says to him that careful with those, like some of them will ignite just when exposed to air. Or Matt knows, like under pressure or fire or air.
Matt knows from previous
She's
times.
quite lax in like throwing it at him. Sort of like, yeah, there you go, catch.
Right.
Throws one at him. Matt's like,
so I
some
wondered
of it can explode.
What's in them? What's in them that can react with air? It's time for science.
The moisture in the
air. Sodium nitrate.
Some metals, sodium and potassium react violently with water. Like that's the one we do in science class.
Wet air. Look, rainy air.
A little bit, actually, yes. So rubidium and cesium are the most reactive alkali metals. They can spontaneously ignite upon exposure to air at room temperature, forming sparks. Cesium is liquid at room temperature and is the most reactive, with its reaction leaving behind a black oxide. Potassium and sodium, these metals are also react vigorously with oxygen and moisture in the air, often catching fire. Their reactions with oxygen are exothermic, meaning they release heat that can cause them to ignite. So, a couple things there that could form at least a spark or the beginning of a chain reaction.
Did you cross-reference those metals with metals used in fireworks?
No.
Because technically you can use any of them. Why would they be
putting those
Yes, they use gunpowder, and like phosphorus, I think is a common one. They use different elements to create different colors.
Phosphorus, and timing, clever rope shenanigans and stuff.
But bottom
Magic.
line, if you want to put something explosive in a firework, it would explode. They could make that happen.
Yes, because Matt did open up one once. He got one from her, or stole one, and he sliced it open to see and then nothing happened.
Yes, yeah, something like that.
Maybe that was the one that didn't have.
Maybe there's a plain gunpowder. It's one that from the batch that he used to blow a hole in the side of the Stone of Tyr, isn't it?
sure.
Call back.
That was no, you brought it up.
Oh, and I regret it already.
Yes.
It's pretty wild that Matt knows Tuon will eventually speak the words that make them married, so he's trying desperately to just get to know her, because, I know we've said this a lot of times, but it really hit home for me. Matt knows he will be married to this woman at any moment. So that's going to happen. So it would be really great if I can get to know who she is, leading up to, and
Doesn't he have
maybe
a
even
year
before
and
that
a week
event.
or something? She's got to say the words within
That's
a
the
year.
maximum time it can go, yeah. I work with people that have arranged marriages, like mostly from India. So, I know a lot of people that are in exactly that position, right? Like, they know they're going to marry someone, but they don't know them at all. Like, they're introduced and then they get to know them. And there is, depending on the families, varying degrees of, sort of agreeing to it. But, yeah, actually, it's still super common. And, a lot of my colleagues are still in arranged marriages, arranged by their parents.
And I know people who are
So
in
wild.
enraged marriages.
There's a lot of those.
I had a note about the dice also stopping momentarily and carrying on, Joe, but we've said what we needed to say there. And then my last note was how funny it is to me about the Seanchan omens, just how doggedly they believe in them and then just write everything else off as that's pure fancy, just grow up, I will not have you misinformed, that sort of idea. It's just good to see them so blind in some areas. Okay, then, shall we tackle the last chapter for this episode? That is chapter 9, called A Short Path. Vil, please give us a short summary.
Okay, I can do that. Matt can't understand why he's got such trouble with women. Never get them. Wish he was like Perrin. He's having a long chat with Leilwin shipless, and Matt prods for more information about Tuon. She tells him exactly what she thinks. She thinks it's disgusting that he's even playing with this. It's like he abused their custom into saying the words, and now it's just disgusting that you even think you've got a chance. Domon pushes him, sort of telling him, prods him that this is now not enough. This is enough. Don't go pushing for more information if she doesn't want to give you anything else. But she does. There's then the whole Tuon backstory, how badass she actually is, how many attempts has been made by her own siblings on her life. Being one of the royal family doesn't come without its own set of problems. Therefore, they birth many babies because they end up killing each other. What life. But yes, he gets a very good conversation going there with Leilwin shipless. Anyway, Eggy later then says to him that that horse was a really clever gift. And he's like, oh shit, what did I do right or wrong or unknowingly this time? But she explains that it's exotic, it's got stripes, it's not a zebra. And it's one of her hobbies that she likes to train horses.
Clear to make that.
She likes to train horses, not wildlife in a menagerie. Jody, you're all confused because you're like...
No, it's confusing because of the description of a zebra.
No, it's not the description of a zebra. His fists could fit between his cannons, and it's got long strides. Have you ever seen a zebra? They're like little stocky, like if you were to compare like a horse, it would into dogs, it would be a greyhound, and a zebra would be a staffy.
We understand your point.
Okay, let's move on.
We know what you're saying.
Anyway, Jolene has taken to schooling Bethaman. It's not the same can be said about who's the other two. What's their name? I forget. The other two Aes Sedai are
Seta and
No, Aes Sedai.
the red one.
the Aes Sedai,
Edicina and
Jolene and Teslin.
Thank you. There we go.
Teslin.
Seta's really having a hard time dealing with this. Then she keeps hiding her face. Sitalanon basically says thinks that she's starting to see the weaves, giving more to
Mhm.
Matt and mentioning these things. Matt has been battered with projectiles, and he's, as expected, medallion was going to get real cold a lot. So as he thought what would happen, these Aes Sedai are now experimenting with him. He's been through this before with, was it Nynaeve and Elaine? Or Egwene? Can't remember. Were pelting him with rocks to test the limits of his medallion. He's going through all of that again. And then, but there seems to have been a rift between the Aes Sedai until one day there was like big screaming and a screaming match, and you could hear fighting. And then one of the other sisters, Edicina, I think it was, just wove a shield so you couldn't hear what was happening. And then after that, it all sort of started leveling out. Sedai and Matt has a nice long conversation where he mentions that she knows a lot about the tower. And she actually asks Matt during this conversation where she, if she can see the medallion. And he doesn't even take hesitance to it, opens it, and she like traces her fingers across, like really in awe of it. Has a long sigh out, and then Matt says, "Yeah, you were Aes Sedai once." And that's when she says, "Well, if they wanted to see it, they could see it, but they're so sucked up in their own world." And then she warns Matt about that this girl is playing a game with you, and maybe they have their own little accord and secret of what hers is, and she'll do what she can for him with Tuon. It's like, cool deal, all done. Tuon is being harassed by the Aes Sedai all the time. All the time. It's becoming quite incessant now at this point.
This is because it was Luca that mentioned that Tuon is a high lady of the Seanchan, and that's how the
Luca-
Aes Sedai find out, and that's why they're badgering her.
Luca has been dropping the High Lady from the Seanchan. Like, he's been name dropping. That's why they up and left the camp, because he name dropped the first night's performances already. And this will talk to them, and them will talk to that, and best be on the move. That's why he was up early, packing up the camp, because he
Right.
realized he fucked up. And there's Seanchan soldiers in the area. Anyway,
Seanchan soldier shoulders.
yes, this was the typical spring meal with some lamb, with some pepper sauce, and some peas with some pine nuts, having both Nerim and the other one,
Lopen.
Lopen. They does have its benefits. They do find some little snippets of good stuff. And all of a sudden, while they're all sitting peacefully eating their lamb, Teslin, Jolene, and Edicina pops into there, and Jolene starts laying down the law. This is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be. And Matt already groans like, oh, no, here we go. And Tuan just says, Selusha. And you just hear click, and then screams. And that's where the horse training starts. Very sneakily and very prepared, Tuan gets Selusha to click collars around all three Aes Sedai, and she's already got the bracelets on. She was waiting for them. It's a trap. And then she quickly starts with, how do you train anyone with quick rewards? Pleasure flows through the sul'dam, and the Aes Sedai breathe heavily and look like they've got a shot of dopamine. And then she tells them that they can embrace Saidar. Jolene, I think this is specifically, and then shows them that now you can't. You've had your first lesson to obey. Ooh, obey. But Matt will have none of it. Then she tries to use them against Matt, and his medallion goes cold, and even she's like, what's this wizardry that's happening here? But Matt moves on, and he unclicks the collar first around Deslin's neck, to which Tuan says, but they annoy me. Like, this is enough now. she speaks up. She's gutful. Matt then frees all the Aes Sedai. Deslin wants to slobber all over his fingers with all the kisses he's getting on the hands. Tuon says to them, like, look, Toy, I'm done now. I want them to stop. Matt lays down the law. They are all stopping with their nonsense, and that night he gets to dig a hole in the dirt in the rain, and says it was a fine night, and buries the 3 sul'dam that was there. End of that chapter. Quick and easy.
Quick and easy. Quite a sort of milestone chapter for me. It was something that I still remember from my first read. But Joe, what did you think? Is there anything you wanted to say about it?
Not really. I assume, just to make sure we're all on the same page here, that Tuon was never going to keep them as Domona. She was just making a point, right?
That's
okay.
That's kind of the crux of the realization, or the trigger for my realization this time around. I had always viewed this scene as another just like crystal clear example of the fact that the Seanchan are shit, and Tuon is Seanchan, and she is also shit because of it, and like the way that she treats the Aes Sedai and everything. Look, she's just enslaving them again. She's never going to give up this stance, blah, blah, blah. So like my whole idea of Tuon for decades was based on this type of behavior and exemplified by this very specific act. And it's funny, like this time when I read this chapter, I did not have that reaction. I also sort of maybe realized for the first time that she wasn't intending on like keeping them collared or anything. She was trying to shock them out of pestering her all the time.
I guarantee you, if you ask any first-time reader that hasn't, say someone that read through our era, ask them what do they remember about Tuon, they'll say that she collared a bunch of Aes Sedai. Because that, I think everyone, and I speak out of my experience because I remember those things. I remember all the bad things the Seanchan did. Like all of it stand out. Like there's such a hate towards them.
And especially Tuon, because you like Matt so much and you want him to end up with someone cool.
100%. It's no doubt about it. That's why I'm actually enjoying just siding these other sides and living these other perspectives. Through this whole thing at the moment.
Easy now. I won't follow you to the shadow, but I mean, I am enjoying Tuon a lot more. Yeah.
just come over for a ride. Let's taste eternity.
Don't
with me.
No one's going, really. Listen, that not to give Tuon too much credit. I mean, she wasn't going to keep them as her Domona slaves, but the point she's trying to make is, you are less than animals to me. You think you're Aes Sedai, that you are these great leaders of this land. You're nothing to me, and you will never be anything to me.
Yeah, so stop demanding things from me.
What I really think of you.
They are Marathamane.
Fuck off. Like, I'm never going to talk to you on the same level. You're never going to be on the same level.
Jody.
This is what I think of you. And then you can take the Domona, the collars and bury them. I don't care. But I've made my point. Really.
They are Marathamane. They need to be collared.
Like, she's not going to collar them. That's the point. Like, because they need to be collared, she would have kept them collared. But she just wants them to fuck off because you're nothing. You're lower than animals to me.
Yeah. So
but to her,
still not great. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't all of a sudden love Tuon, but I'm not so diametrically opposed to her as I was. I'm pretty sure in the early days of this podcast we used to talk about it, and it's one of those things that I wanted to sort of like revisit and see if I still think the same way about it as I do or as I did. And I don't. Like I have shifted my opinion of Tuon somewhat. I'm quite enjoying actually her interactions with Matt and like how she's constantly just confounding him and like, you know, keeping him on the back foot the whole time. I love the fact that she can notice when Matt started going wrong in a Stones game. Like even though she drew with him, she knew that he was in a position to, like, she's really good at that sort of stuff. So I'm building up some level of respect for Tuon that I have not held at all in previous reads. yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'd like to see by the end of the book, because I know that the Seanchan are still the Seanchan by the end of the last battle. Nothing major happens in their society. But I think the seeds may be planted there for like a fourth age. What happens to the Seanchan? Do they chill out a bit? Do they give up on the slavery and the chaining, the collaring of women, the channel? I don't know. But it might change.
It's a constant conflict during this book, Willie. Now that you've read on and you've read about like Tylee Kurgan and stuff as well, we've read about Karedi. You know, like there are. Is it Karedi? Yes, it is Karedi. I just for a second there I thought, is it Kadir? But that's Hadnan Kadir.
Hadnan Kadir is the balloon man.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about him anymore.
The balloon man. No. So like there are Seanchan that you read about that I end up liking. Like there are aspects of their society and things that I also like. It's like the whole honor-based thing is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Similar to the Aiel in many ways. But it's just can't get over the slavery thing, eh? Like that's just always gonna be there. I can never condone that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Conflicted all the time.
Just having trouble with that little slavery thing.
Hey, isn't the guy Shine also a slave?
Slaves, but also like that's entered into super willingly. You know, like it's more about regaining your lost honor for this deep shame that you have been that you've taken on during battle. I mean, and after a year and a day,
someone touches your arm or puts a collar around your neck. I mean,
because they all buy into it. They all agree. It's agreed on all sides, and everyone is equal in their, susceptibility to being made Gaishen.
Yeah, but it's agreed that if you can channel, run to the tower and get away from being collared.
The only people that take Gaishen against their will are the Shido, and we hold them with the appropriate level of disdain for that exact reason.
Dude, the Shido are lower than Seanchan.
I, for one, think that if you got caught, the Maraftamani must just do their time. Like, you should have been faster. Survival of the fittest.
So, Vil, are you morphing into not just a Dark Friend, but also a Seanchan sympathizer or even a Seanchan Dark Friend?
Like the mighty fig tree, you split the bulbous part over time.
The mighty fig tree. The mightiest of trees. Yes.
On a lighter note, Matt talks here about a
lighter than mighty fig trees.
Matt talks about a metal bowl set in the side of a hill in Arafel 100 paces across.
A solar dish.
Yeah.
There's the satellite dish that we spoke about from the Eye of the World as well.
Yeah. Exactly that.
There was a moment in the wagon when Matt, I think, undoes the collars or something, and Selusha goes into a stance of like fear and pleading and begging. She comes towards Matt with like her hands outstretched, and Tuon just says to her, "No," and then Selusha turns off that fear and she steps back and she sort of just takes up a more like default position. And Matt thinks to himself, how indentured must you be to a person to be able to turn off your fear at a command? But he doesn't understand that that was an act from Selusha, because she was readying to like actually take him out. And when Tuon said no, she's like, okay, I'll leave him be. She's faking it, she's playing possum and ready to like strike. And Tuon had to stop her from taking him down. Yeah. But Matt doesn't know that. He's
don't
just
kill my
Matt
future husband.
Know the hand-to-hand combat
no.
Murder skills that's in those two.
Yes. It's actually coming. We've previously referred to a scene in which Tom sees something that Selusha does, and afterwards all Matt sees is Tom saying to Selusha, hey, some of us have very short memories. And Selusha goes, short memories of what? And Tom goes, I don't know, what are we talking about, sort of thing. I don't remember. So Tom sees her use her skills, and that's in I think it might be in the next episode, in a Hell in Madeira.
Hell in Madeira.
Whatever. Yeah, that is coming up soon.
But it was pretty cool. Selusha, badass. Just collaring people, getting ready to take people out. Okay, anything else from either of you about that last chapter?
Mm-mm.
Just Willie now loves the Seanchan?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a slow burn. I've seen it coming.
Yes.
It was inevitable.
He seems ripe for conversion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's it, have you guys remembered to pick your favorite moments?
Many, actually.
I did.
It's not like a one.
Wow.
There's a lot of feel happy, good moments.
Okay. All right, let Joe go first then, and then, Vil, you can give us a machine gun fire of yours.
Woohoo!
It's not often that I have one, and we've already discussed it like twice.
Okay, cool.
It's the one where Matt comes up with the name Precious for his little Precious.
Yes.
And he's so fucking proud of himself. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get back at you. And she's like, oh, okay, I like this game. Let's see how it plays out. And he goes, and the smile just falls off his face. Like, wait, game? What?
This is a
lost.
game?
Yes.
I'm definitely going to lose this.
Yes, exactly. So quickly flip flops from haha, I've got you to oh fuck, no wait.
Oh, damn it.
That was funny.
She just like judo reverses his momentum against himself.
Yes, and that's one of the moments that make you like Tuon is those
Yes,
these scenes.
yes.
Like she's not being mean, she's just one step ahead.
Yeah. Vil, what you got?
I particularly enjoyed Matt's horse trading with the man. It was a nice insight to what his dad taught him, how he measured up the flesh, which was just good, interesting reading. Of course, Jolene's spanking, the high up there, a very big moment in the book.
Yes,
Very
got
funny.
hurtful.
Yep. Tuon sul'daming the Marathmane was a very powerful,
That's
very
a favorite moment for you.
interesting
Interesting.
event. I think just there showing the power that she has. So just step wisely, Jolene.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite is actually the very tender secrets being shared between Stella and Matt, and them working together towards Matt succeeding potentially, and he keeping her secrets.
That was very sweet. I actually struggled to pick a favorite moment in this section, and when you recap that section, it reminded me, like, yeah, that is actually just a really, really nice moment. Like, I mean, wasn't Sital, like, didn't she already like Matt back in the day in The Wandering Woman?
Oh,
like
all the
in the
time.
beginning, she liked him, she favored him and stuff. So she is, she is looking out for him.
yeah. He got hot meals in the kitchen.
She's sticking around to look out for him. It's like
But when I think he started like messing around with some of her serving maids, or like
drew a line there.
was kissing Jolene in the kitchen to sort of avoid detection by Karedi, I think it was, or Egeanin and Domon was standing in the door or something, and Matt grabs Jolene. It was Domon, because Domon recognizes Matt. He says to Egeanin later, that boy that was fooling around in the kitchen was on my boat. But I think like those little events, like Sital went, okay, he's a bit of a scamp, this guy. Like he's, like...
Oh, but he's a lovable scamp.
He is a lovable scamp.
Well, she compares him to her ex-husband or a husband, Jasper.
Yes.
Just a rogue, a lovable rogue.
Yeah, sweet moment. Mine, like I said, was a tricky one. So I kind of took a bit of a cop out and said all those moments of Matt and Tuon sort of like sparring in this courtship. So that includes obviously Jody, that very deft move where she turned his ace against him. But like all of it, like the Stones games, like the how she keeps him off balance by like sometimes choosing to be like very open and talk to him and stuff, and then other times like after she's raced away and she stops her horse and he comes over and he gives her that spray and she just speaks as if he didn't say anything. Like he is completely off balance. He doesn't know how to approach. He can't be sweet because she rebuffs him. He can't shout at her because she ignores him. Like he can't ply her with gifts, except for this razor obviously is a big step in the right direction. So their courtship plays out over a pretty long period of time until like quite deep in the book. And I actually really enjoyed all of it. So like having read all of that now, reading these moments is also a bit nicer. It's a bit sweeter and a bit more relatable and not just happening to my, one-time favorite character and this terrible slaving invader. It was more enjoyable than that this time anyway.
Slaving invaders, yeah. Woo.
It's the name of
You want your slavery, keep it on your land. Don't come and invade my land with your slavery.
No. All right. So to our listeners, send us your favorite moments, your thoughts, your theories, corrections, questions, or just say hi. You can do so using the social media links in our episode description or go to bloodandashespodcast.com where you could even leave a voice message for us to play on the show. Please rate and review the podcast on whatever platform it is that you are using, and hopefully we can grow the community even more. It's pretty active on Discord, so people should jump in there and join the fun. When you've done all of that, you can reach again once more for Knife of Dreams and start to prepare for next time on Blood and Ashes, where we will cover chapters 10 through 13. Chapter 10 is called A Village in Shiota. Chapter 11 is A Hell in Maderin. Chapter 12 is A Manufactory. And chapter 13 is called Siege.
Siege indeed.
I know what 3 of those chapters are about. Can't remember Siege.
That's 3 more than me.
Siege is Elaine under siege, surviving another volley of incoming.
We go back to Elaine.
We do.
Amathera,
in a big way.
No.
A lot of things resolve here, Joe. It's actually good shit. You're thinking of Aramilla. Aramilla, the Queen Killer.
Yeah.
Oh, Aramilla, she's around too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And all those other high lords and ladies that are children, are they still held in the
Yes,
palace?
They're still on the scene. No, some
I'll
of
just,
them are in the
I'll just read and
battles.
find out.
No, there's action this time, Joe. This is good stuff, and you can confidently look forward to it.
I will then.
Okay, well, we can all look forward to that with confidence, but until we read and sum up those chapters and blather on about them on this podcast, I will say to everyone, sleep well and wake.
Very good evening.
Ciao, everyone.
Yeehaw.